Rudy Gobert, the defender, is very effective at what he does. I don't care what anyone says.
That's what it sounded like to me he was saying, but he used the word skill, because skill to me is like it has nothing to do necessarily with athleticism and talent. If he go from 21 to 35, that's 14 points. That's a lot of points. Yo, welcome back, everybody. What's up, YouTube family? This is episode 12, Dose of the Club WAM Podcast. Man, and you had a basketball. What was the basketball about? Say what up to the people and tell us what the basketball was about.
What's up, people? Which one? The wild
The
toss
Phantom
around?
one. Yeah.
Oh,
What's that about?
the silent basketball. You
Oh,
bouncing indoors, it'll make no noise.
Oh, see, W.
Oh, you got a silent ball. See, use our affiliate code in the comments.
Hey, don't show that basketball anymore. What up? Say what up to the people, Brandon.
What up? What up? What up? What up? How we doing?
You got any German for us? Episode 12?
Not today, honestly. It's not really a German speaking day.
Oh yeah, because we don't rock with 12. This is a John Morant episode. So
yeah, man.
Only
this is episode 13, in my opinion.
Anyway.
Episode John, that's the only 12 we mess.
Yo. That's so funny. But yeah, man, we're gonna have a good episode today, right? We're gonna have a good episode. We're gonna run it up and make it happen. Speaking of good, Magic Johnson and Anthony Edwards had a lot to say to each other. They had an interesting back and forth where Anthony Edwards starts by saying, hey, pretty much Michael Jordan was the only player with real skill back in the day. But I do remember specifically him saying, hey, I did not watch back in the day, but Michael Jordan was the only person with skill. Magic Johnson, amongst other players, responded and said, I never respond to a guy who's never won a championship. He didn't win a college championship. I don't even know if he won a high school championship. Side note, Anthony Edwards did win a state championship in high school. Now,
he got him one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start with you. Does Magic Johnson have a point, or is Anthony Edwards tripping?
I feel like it's a difficult one to answer because, like, when you really like look at it, Ant kind of got a point. Not to say that like they're bad or the people that Magic played against and played with are bad, but the average player now versus the average player then, along with all the rule changes, offensively, guys have a lot more to deal with now. So I mean, I like what I was interested about it when he said it. Like what I went to look at is just like, okay, so who were like the guys back when Magic was playing? So like I guess like his MVP year is the year I looked at. So of course, you know, him and Larry, Mike was in that bitch going crazy. I think that was when Mike was averaging like 30-some a game. Charles Barkley was playing, and Julius Erving was playing, Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, Walter Davis, Alex English. Like, you know, a lot of guys like you see the name, you're like, oh yeah, I remember who that is. It was a lot of pretty good basketball players. Granted, you look at what Anthony Edwards has to stand in front of today, talking Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, just at his position. We ain't gonna talk about like he has to deal with Zion from time to time, but just at his position, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Jamal Murray, Jalen Green, like he do got some problems in front of him. And not to say those guys were worse, but the big issue that they had back in the day was keeping up with athleticism. Like Michael Jordan was so dominant because he was more athletic than everybody. He was so much more athletic that nobody could do anything with him. Whereas now, if you look at the NBA now, there's like one guy on every team with like a 40-inch vertical. So it physically, the NBA looks very different now. Physically, these guys are a lot more gifted. It's a lot more difficult to guard them. But there was a lot of talented players back in the day too. It's just a lot of us don't know about all those talented players back in the day.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I would say it's kind of like similar to how like we bring up like mid 2000s players who, you know, were meaningful to us because we watched them play. I mean, if Anthony Edwards didn't watch it and he didn't study it, I mean, it's hard. I feel like for me, it's hard for him to say that he's the only player with real skill. Like for him to say that and like for it to be taken as a serious comment. I mean, I don't know under the context because Anthony Edwards is kind of a goofball, so like he likes to like goof around and just kind of say stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, he just be saying stuff like sometimes, and it's like I think it's kind of taking what he says with a grain of salt. So you could definitely tell Magic Johnson was a little the way he came back. When does Magic Johnson ever come at somebody like that? Like straight up, he didn't even come at Larry Bird like that, and that was his rival for years. So
he ain't say nothing to Rob Pelinka. He's just I'm
nothing.
Not gonna be here.
Exactly, like he's straight fighting back at him. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little disingenuous to say that there wasn't any skill back in the day. I just think that it looked different. Like now, like think about how training's been so like. There's a whole industry now around basketball training that wasn't there when these players were coming up. So like a lot of the moves that they were coming up with, they're the the originators of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so it just looks different. That's not to say that they aren't as skilled. I just think that the skill was focused in different areas. And it's just like now, yeah, there's so many 25-point per game scores, but they're also those same 25-point per game scorers also have to do the 7-point per game score, dirty work, all that stuff. Like those, you still need people to fill all these different roles and all that stuff as well. And then just being an empty calorie scorer is like kind of like half the game. Like you could score and everything like that, but can are you scoring just to score, or are you just taking shots or whatever? It's just a weird. I think it's just a weird way to think about it. And I personally, I don't know if Anthony Edwards was serious about it. Yeah, I just don't think the kid was all that serious about what he was saying. I think, maybe it was framed to Magic in a way that made it come off more offensive than he ever made it out to be. Because I just don't really see how it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like to say only one player in the league was really skilled, that doesn't make any sense. There's too many players in the league for that.
Here, let me chime in a little bit on this, right? And I'm not agreeing with what he's saying, but let me ask this question to both of y'all. If you change the word skill with talent, does that change the statement?
Yeah, that's a different statement.
Does it change how you feel about what he said? Like,
no, I think it's a separate sentence altogether.
They're worse.
That's a separate sentence, though. To say less talent means there's not as many good players. Say less skill means the players weren't as good. Like I just think that I think it's a whole different statement at that point.
Okay. All right. I was just trying to pick both of y'all brains and just see how y'all feel about that, because I think after listening to what he said, it sounded to me like he was saying talent, not skill. It was, hey, Michael Jordan there was this big gap athletically, what you were talking about, and there's this big gap athletically from Michael Jordan to the second most athletic player at that time. That's what it sounded like to me he was saying, but he used the word skill, because skill to me is like, it has nothing to do necessarily with athleticism and talent. Like you can work, you could perfect a skill, you could like the way you play the game. So I think that back then, I think they were all skilled. Like I could argue that a lot of them they had a lot of skill. There was just a gap in athleticism. That's it. But I'm not defending him because he said what he said. But like the reality is, like, Anthony Edwards is like the stone cold, like the NBA. Like he just say whatever. he go say whatever he going to say. Like he sound like everything. He sound like he got a beer or a blunt in his hand. So
that's why I can't take what he says serious a lot of the time, because I can tell that he probably had a smirk on when he was saying it. You know what I mean? Like
they trash. Like
yeah.
Like, because that's how he talks. That's how he talks to his peers. Like, yeah, they trash. Like, so just imagine what he would say about other players. They
wouldn't have been able to guard me.
They trash. Like, yeah. But I love it though, because he's honest about it. He honest. He be like, look, they trash. He'll say it. You trash. They trash. Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Ant, for actually providing like a list of players. Like, hey, these are some skilled players from back in that time. But
I had to go look because I'm like, bro, ain't no way.
do we got any final thoughts on Anthony Edwards and his stone cold double beer?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said about like Jordan kind of putting the athleticism and the skill and like finding a way for that athleticism to help his skill. Like he's kind of like the complete version of like the Dr. J and David Thompson types, where like they're slashers and all that stuff and they're scorer heavy and all that stuff. But Jordan was able to put it together in a way like he won titles with it. You know what I'm saying? He turned all that athleticism into jump shooting and all that stuff, and won 6 titles off that type of stuff. Like I think like that's like bridging that gap of athleticism. That I think maybe that fits more into the context of what he's saying. I'm just trying not to like take it as an insult, like to players back then, because it just don't seem like it was like that was a statement at all.
He didn't say it. He said it. Fuck him. If they get insulted about what he said it, we just reacted to it.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, to that, it is a lot more athletic and skilled players now than ever.
Yeah, so, they had blueprints now. They have blueprints now. They have the blueprint on who to work off of now. So they know like the parts of their games they need to put together in order to make it successful in the context of the NBA. That I mean, that's the part of the game progressing now is that this was gonna happen. Players are only gonna continue to get better at like the bare minimum. Like the bare minimum NBA player is gonna be way better than they were 25 years ago. Like in 25 years. So it's going to be like, it's just a part of it. That's the evolution there.
All right, and the next one.
Yeah, well, somebody who revolutionized the game defensively as a center in his own right, Dwight Howard. He shares his thoughts about Rudy Gobert and his defensive player of the years. Dwight Howard, in an interview on the Gills Arena podcast. You want to play the clip? Can we hear the clip? This is a shortened version. While we get that to load, I'll give some context to what's going on. Dwight Howard pretty much shared that Rudy Gobert is one of his least favorite defensive player of the years because he feels like the accolades don't match the player. Rudy Gobert has 4 defensive player of the years, and he doesn't feel like he deserved all 4. Let's watch the clip if we can.
What's your assessment of Rudy Gobert's impact on defense?
I mean, it's tough to say because, I never want to say nothing negative about any players. But I don't think he deserved those defensive player of the years like he got them. I feel like he's a great team defender. But for what he did to get those defensive player of the years, I don't see it. I don't see him being an elite defender. I see him as somebody who has the size. He's 7'2". So when you 7'2" and you playing with athletic guys, and you don't have to do nothing but clean up their mistakes or, just be big in the paint. So, I mean, it's really hard to say that he is an elite defender to have 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. This year, he was actually up in the pick and rolls. He was moving his feet. He was talking more. He was actually being aggressive. The years before that, I think they just gave it to him because of his team defense and how everybody was on the team.
Contextually, what he's getting at for our audience is that he feels like Rudy Gobert isn't as impactful defensively as his accolades say. So he's won 4 defensive player of the years. He's pointing out things like he doesn't step up on pick and rolls. He's always dropping. And his most important statement that I got from watching is that other defensive players of the years, the defense is centered around them. It's like, okay, this is what you're good at. We're going to build our defense centered around you versus Rudy Gobert, where he's just kind of like a plug and play guy. Like you can just pretty much just throw him in there and like, hey, what do I need to do, coach? And he's going to do it at a good level. I'll start with you this time, Brandon. How do you feel about Dwight Howard versus Rudy Gobert? Does he deserve all 4 defensive player of the years? How do you feel about that? And we could go through and like kind of look at the list and break it down if you want to.
Well, if he's saying that Rudy Gobert didn't really deserve a lot of them because he's just a system player, if they only run drop, isn't that because his strength is drop and like he's like the best drop coverage defender we don't had in the past 20 years? Like he's like I hate like Rudy Gobert, the person and the personality, the player and all that stuff. I don't like. But Rudy Gobert, the defender, is very effective at what he does. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, he's 7'2", but he still got to go do it. He still got to be there at the right times. He still got to play it. And even to say he hasn't played with athletic wings until like this past season, like even last season, like before his best perimeter defender that he's played with before playing with Jaden McDaniels this season was Royce O'Neal. That's it. And they were putting together those defending like those teams in Utah with catered around defense, like perimeter defense, where they funneled defenders into them because that was their best option. I'm sorry, but Joe Ingles and Royce O'Neal aren't stopping the best players. They need help. He needs to help. That's his skill, is help. Help defense is what he does. It's what works best for him, and that's how they were able to frame those defenses, and they were pretty good defenses. I can't say that I'm going to take away any of his Defensive Player of the Year awards, because, I mean, personally, I ain't got the numbers in front of me to just straight do that. My thing is, if his drop coverage, and I'm just using Dwight Howard's argument against him, if his drop coverage is so elite that their best option on defense is to run that, why not do it? And maybe it doesn't work in the playoffs, but that's not a him thing. This is the team decided to run this. They thought it was the best option. He only got to come out there and play. He's not the defensive coach. If he's running drop and that's what they're gonna do. If they're now decide to switch the coaching up late into the season and they're getting messed up by running this same action or trying to defend actions using the same coverage, that's not him. He's not the schemer. I'm just playing devil advocate here for Rudy Gobert, which makes me sick. So I'm just gonna let y'all know that now. Like, I'm not happy to be doing that.
Go ahead, Ant.
All right, so I think the part that the thing that he said that put it in the best perspective for me on the way that I look at Rudy Gobert was him saying he's a great team defender, but he's not like a dominant force on defense. And I think like that was the thing that I was having trouble depicting with him, where it was just like it's something, and it's because like his company, he has 4. The other, I only remember 2 of the other players they said have 4, and it's Dikembe Mutombo and Ben Wallace. Yeah. And when you think of Dikembe and Mutombo and Ben Wallace, it's like there was no like weakness defensively. Like we've never seen Mutombo or Ben Wallace get taken on the perimeter and there was a problem. It's like they were defenders,
but they didn't
like
have
all
to
the
do
way
that
around. So it didn't matter who the fuck you put them on. They played defense. Yeah. And then my other issue with Rudy Gobert. So in saying that, I feel like, again, before I even go into any of this, I think Rudy Gobert is a good center, a good rim protector. Yeah, he is that. He is a good rim protector. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year is kind of crazy. And I actually went back and looked at it. The last one and the last one with the Jazz. So the one with Minnesota and the one with the Jazz, he deserved those. Because that last Jazz team he played on, nigga wasn't nobody on that team that could play defense. Nobody.
You think he deserved the
Derek Favors wasn't starting no more. So this was like there with the last 2, yes. The last 2, yeah. I'm gonna have to say yeah, because he did his job. Because even in the last one with Minnesota, he played way better defense than he's ever played his entire career. And he's part of the reason why they was able to do what they did, because we watched some of them games. We know Cat has been in foul trouble all year. All year Anthony Edwards has been telling him, bro, I need you to stay on the court more. You gotta stop. Hey buddy, that was a good one. Can you go back in your room, please? Okay. You're just gonna take my drink. All right, cool. That's nice. Just take my drink. It was like, but no, the last 2, he deserved those, because that Jazz team was terrible. That was when Jordan Clarkson got there. They didn't have no defense at all. But I went back and looked at it. The first 2 that he got for Utah, the starters were him, Ricky Rubio, Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Derek Favors. Derek Favors was still good those first 2 years that he got it. Ricky Rubio was averaging a steal a game. Donovan Mitchell was averaging a steal a game. Joe Ingles was averaging a steal a game. Derek Favors was averaging a block a game, and he was giving them 2 blocks a game. So we can honestly say that's a great ass starting 5 team defense. And that's what happened. Those first 2 years, that whole team, they played good ass defense together. But them other two, he got them other two. And again, I ain't gonna say he's a bad defender. He's a great rim protector. He definitely deserves 2 of them bitches. But it's weird that y'all don't have a problem giving him 4, but y'all have a problem handing out multiple MVPs to like James Harden, LeBron, Kobe, Joel, like those guys. But then y'all don't have a problem passing them between the centers. Like the voting is the weirdest part about it. The inconsistency of the voting. It's because of that the reason why we even have this situation where people are questioning Rudy Gobert's defensive player of the year is because it's inconsistent across the board. Because in between the ones he won, I think Marcus Smart got one, Jaren Jackson got one, and be somebody else before he got the last one. But it's just all just like it's weird. Like the it's just inconsistent voting. Like it doesn't make sense. But like as far as Rudy Gobert goes, he's just not a 4-time defensive player of the year.
Doesn't it feel weird that defensive player of the year, like Marcus Smart and Jaren Jackson, like Marcus Smart, like he won defensive player of the year because the Celtics were good as a team. Like that's the part of the award. Like this is the only award I feel like where analytics, where they use analytics all the way through. Like, and it's kind of tough to say because I feel like what, if we had like proper context on what they were using, because think about it, most improved player, they just use whoever scored the most points over the previous season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the most growth in points.
Yeah, the most growth on their
differential.
Yeah. But then it feels like some years for defensive player of the year, they don't know who the best defensive player is that year, and they just decide to go based on who has the best team defense that year and choose the best defensive player on the best defensive team. Like, that's what it feels like it's happened for 2 of Rudy's defensive player of the years. And like, I'm sorry, if they're going to give it to him based on those contexts, I mean, I guess he deserves it, but like, then I think that's more of like a look on some of the other defenders.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, honestly, like, I feel like there were some times where there were some defensive player of the years where like, and going back and looking at the dates and the numbers and the stats, I think that Rudy Gobert, I think a couple of them he won by default. So because there was a year that he won defensive player of the year and Paul George probably should have won it, but he got hurt. Because remember, Paul George was balling that first year he got to OKC. Mm-hmm. There was that year because he was in an MVP discussion too, and he was balling. That was probably the best Paul George we'll ever see. He was at the peak of his powers, right? So then he wins that by default because Paul George isn't playing. Then like I
think the first 2 are the ones you're talking about.
Yeah,
that's like, when they lost to the Jazz that season. Like rookie Donovan Mitchell.
Tell you them the only 2 where it's just like, because bro, you want me to tell you the roster for that last Jazz team that he won it on? If I was looking at this is bro.
Look, I'll put it to you this way, right?
He was defending the fuck out the rim with this team.
Look, I'll put it to you this way. I'm gonna keep it 100. I think that there are a lot of 5s, a lot of centers in the NBA. If you are tall, you can do what Rudy Gobert does. Rudy Gobert is not on Dwight Howard's level defensively. Like, it's not close. And I think that's where the discourse is.
I don't know, bro. A lot of these tall dudes off now.
No.
I would say who?
Dwight Howard.
Who?
I say it to this day, and those are 2 different statements. Hold on. Okay, first, I think that Hassan Whiteside could do the same shit that he was doing. I believe that through and through.
Man, Hassan didn't have the head for it. He was the one over helping.
He got it his own way.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside leaves people open to block shots. That's not the same as Rudy getting his blocks per game. He don't leave nobody open.
I'm a stand on it. I think Rudy Gobert just
Rudy
tall
credit
for
staying where he's supposed to be.
Look,
I will.
I don't know any defensive player that I can remember where people will be like, yo, we gonna do something, and they just schemed him out of a game completely. Like, they schemed him out of a series. Like, that don't happen. to defensive player of the years. Like, you can't scheme them out. They're going to make their impact.
But that's coaching, though. That's coaching, bro.
It don't matter. If you are an elite defensive player, you cannot be schemed out the game. You cannot. Like,
yeah, you can, bro. Because then you can.
Bro, Dwight Howard was never schemed out of a game. Never, ever.
Okay. But think of it like this. Remember when Kawhi was at his height? And like we're talking 20. Yes, he was, and I'm gonna tell you how. Because what they would do is the guy that Kawhi was guarding, they would put him in the corner and make him sit there the whole possession, so Kawhi wasn't a part of the play. That happens all the time. Like they don't run pick and roll with Draymond on the floor because he's gonna break it up. That's why the Warriors are so hard to score against. Like it's stuff like you have to do that type of thing. Like I think this is very similar.
Draymond out of a game.
That's true, but it is
because he's blowing up plays. You can blow up shit before it happens.
To do that to a center.
Elite defensive players, they're moving with their brain. They're not moving with their they're thinking they're here. It's all about, all right, I can stop stuff from happening before it happens. Rudy Gobert is getting completely schemed out of a play. Completely. Yeah. We've seen it. And on top of that, I've never seen people just be like, yo, I'm going to the paint. I ain't scared of him. Players they're not scared of Rudy Gobert being down there. They not.
I mean, I just feel like we put Rudy in the Kimbe's role, he gets as many blocks. I'm just being honest there.
Let me put it to you this way. When Wemby is in the paint, what it look like?
It's different.
I rest my case.
I think okay. Maybe the difference is
we're using
athleticism.
The wrong people. We're using the wrong people because
no. We
got
hear
that's
me out,
the issue. Is
his
accolades have put him up there? That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. Like he shouldn't be up there. He's not. No, bro.
That's the point. You have to compare him.
Remember
to those type of people because he has four.
On Mutombo, and we had a video of motherfuckers dunking on Rudy Gobert. We ain't gonna talk about that.
If we come and we put Mutombo in the modern NBA, y'all think they won't pull him out the paint and ice on him as well? I think they'll do the same thing. We didn't see Mutombo got to play where he got to camp out and do his thing where he and be a rim protector. You know what I'm saying? He was guarding motherfuckers that weren't coming out the paint. We're watching Rudy get 2-3 blocks a game, having to guard the perimeter as well. I just think that defense is harder to play nowadays than it was previously.
I agree with you.
I would say Ben Wallace and Marcus Camby are a better comparison for him because Ben Wallace and Marcus Camby played after the hand check rule, after when you had to allow space, after illegal defense and all that stuff. That's more of that's why it's different because to me Dwight Howard is just way more athletic. It can be in two places at the same time. Rudy can't be in two places at the same time. He has to make the right decision. It's just crazy. That's why they're different tiers.
But that's the difference between him and everybody else that these awards have put him with. Because if you just give him 2 and bring him down, everybody else that got 2 and below, yeah, he's better. More than most of those people, he's better than them. But
there's players who got 1
that 3-4 is full of a bunch of athletic geniuses. It's Dennis Rodman, Mutombo. It's some dogs up there in that 3-4.
I'm not even necessarily thinking about the 4 defensive player of the years. It matters in the sense that when you give somebody 4 awards of something in the NBA, it automatically puts you in this elite company of people that are undeniably some of the best defenders ever. And he's not that to me. I don't even think he's the best defensive. I feel like there's Giannis. Giannis is elite defensively. Mm-hmm. You're not scheming Giannis out of.
I think Anthony Davis is better.
He's not an elite defender.
I
That's what it is. Rudy Gobert is an elite rim protector.
I think Anthony Davis is a better defender than him, straight up.
Yes, you can. I think if we sat down and really broke it down, we could probably come up with 10, probably somewhere between 8 to 10 defenders you would take on your team before what Rudy Gobert gives you.
Not Mo Wagner, right?
No. Side note, it was kind of a troll, but I got the brothers mixed up, and anyway. But yeah, but I'm being serious though. You would seriously take 8 to 10 defenders on your team before you would take Rudy Gobert, but he got 4. But we're talking about 8 to 10 in this era. Yeah. But he got 4, which puts him up top 3 defenders ever, and he's not that.
I mean, I think it goes back to what I was saying about the NBA. Really, not like it's just kind of giving it to the best defensive player and the best defensive team. And he just happened to get 2 more of them. I mean, he can't send it back, so it's like, at this point, what are you gonna do? They kind of messed his legacy up a little bit by giving him too much.
Yeah, he was already trashing them, and then you just gave a reason for people to trash him.
He's gotten 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards since since all this stuff has happened. It's crazy, and it's done nothing but make players dog on him more. Like Draymond hates him because he got 2 over him.
Well, yeah, Draymond choked him out. We know he hate him.
But at this point, he has to help Minnesota get a ring. Like you gotta win something. That's the only way people won't get off your back. Like you gotta go be the defensive anchor of a championship team. Then motherfuckers will probably get off his back. Then it'll just be like, well, he did like anchor them to that ring that one year. So maybe he is. It's like he in that situation of his career where it's like they didn't put you up there with them people. So you either got to show you one of them or you're going to be talked bad about forever.
I'm actually happy I get to talk about this right now because there's like his contract now is like the elite role player contract, like that he was the first guy to get that elite defensive role player contract, and it looked crazy at the time, and the stuff they gave up to trade for him was even crazier, and I was thinking a lot of that was because of the contract. But look at like OG Anunoby, like look at those are very similar contracts, just massive like multi-year deals for role players, and I just think that's what the market is going to be moving forward, and we got to prepare ourselves for players who don't necessarily do too much, like box score wise, making $30+ million a year because of their defense or because of their ability to play with others. It's crazy.
But the 30 is about to be, that 30 is going to be like the new 15.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Steph just got 62.
Yeah.
What do you think when it's time for Wemby to re-up? Well, it's time for Wemby to get he might get like $1 billion. Now I'm trolling, but
$80 million a year.
He might get like a $500,000 contract. Like he might get a $500 million contract.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
you know what I mean? So
I think before the tax, like the cap went up again, like Rudy was doing like 25% or 30% of the marketing, like the cap rate, whatever, and now it's at like 17%, which is a lot more tolerable. So it's like, I guess, I mean, we're gonna be seeing so many players make that kind of money now. So I mean, it's gonna, like I said, we just got to prepare ourselves for the players to be put up on a higher status, at least until the rest of the league catches up.
Yeah, it's gonna start looking like that baseball money.
Money. Speaking of top defenders, top players, our beloved, infamous, most loved, most hated, however you want to slice it or dice it, our NBA 2K25 dropped their top 10 ratings not too long ago, as the game is about to come out this week. So, top 10 list, Jokic, Luka, and Giannis all tied at 97. They have Shea and Joel Embiid tied at 96. LeBron, Steph, Jason Tatum, 95. Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, both 94, which rounds out the top 10. Brandon, I will start with you. Did 2K get the top 10 in their ratings right in general?
I mean, yes, I guess. Like it's weird that ratings are now an indicator of the top players in the league, because I just don't think some of the players overall matches like their place in the league. And it's just because like they're independent attributes that come up that make up to the overall thing. Like I've made rosters in 2K before, and just the way that it works, a lot of people's stats are inflated at the beginning of the season to reflect. Like I remember back, like I think it was 2K12, right after Dallas won the title, Dirk was like a high 90s. but like he wasn't. You know what I mean? Like they boosted him up. They boosted the entire Mavericks team up because they just went to the finals. I think that's what's happening with Luka a little bit here as well. And then Jason Tatum went from like a 93 to a 95. So they boost people based on that. I don't know. I don't think these are the top 10 players in the league straight up. I think they could probably sub some people in and out of here if we're making it a list about that. I'm more curious to see is how they got to that 96 rating with some of these players, how they got to the 97 rating with some people. You know what I'm saying? What makes them this 95? Is it the independent attributes that get them there, or are they just boosting? There's like this, and this is a little bit more 2K lore, is that back in like 2K17 or 18, they added this attribute called intangibles, and if you raise and lower that, you change the overall. You can change it up to 10 points up or down if you put it on 25 or on 99. And they do this a lot of the times to boost up overall, which is why I've always said do not take any 2K rating into account, because they don't really even try. They just do whatever. A lot of times they just raise that attribute. There'll be players like the Pistons, Blake on the Pistons or even as far as on the Nets had a high dunk rating when he ain't been a dunker in 7 years. It's just stuff like that. So I don't take all this stuff too serious from my perspective. But we all play 2K here, so I like to hear what you guys got to say on it.
And same question. Did 2K get the top 10 ratings? And I guess I should have gave it some more context. If we're going with the top 10 players in the NBA, are these the top 10?
No.
What would you change?
I think my first issue is like, should the All-Star voting like be weighed into who are the top rated players? Well, not All-Star, the MVP voting. Should MVP voting factor into who's the top players in the league? Because it's like, looking at it is weird, because in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I guess Joel Embiid and Jokic are close, but I feel like those two should probably be the same. I don't feel like Giannis is a 97. I don't feel like he had a 97 season. I can see Luka being up there. I feel like Shea should probably be third, and like Giannis should probably be, I don't know, probably like fifth or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna change over the course of the season. They update the overalls throughout the NBA season. So some guys are gonna get higher and all that, this, that, and the fifth. And it's just like, it's weird because, like, even look at it. Like, Anthony Edwards is a 93 and like Ja's a 90. I think they a lot closer than that. And then like Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie have a higher overall than John Morant. It's just like, I don't know. It's weird. And then, I mean, Wemby ain't a rookie. Why is he not above a 94? Because I mean, I don't know. Like, if you, it's weird.
You see, that's what I'm saying with this.
I don't agree with it.
That's why we shouldn't use this as a top 10 indicator, because it doesn't. There are a bunch of independent attributes that make up their overall, and 2K can boost or lower whatever they want, whenever they want, and no one cares. It shouldn't matter. Like, the official roster has never been good. Like, it hasn't been good in ever, honestly. I make my own sometimes just because it's like there be players who they just completely ignore. Like, the Martin twins, I could tell you back in like 2K19 when they were finally getting minutes on the Hornets, you could tell if you watch them, they're athletic. Their speed and their vertical were 55s at 6'5" wings. They can't play. They can't play. You can't play the game with a wing with a 55 speed. That's the type of attention to detail they don't pay attention to. Like, it's stuff like that. You can't take this stuff serious.
So, is there anybody that's in the top 10 that shouldn't be there? Or do you just think they should be? If you're going off top 10 players in the NBA, so you're saying these are not the top 10?
I don't know if they're the top 10. I just think that some players have some high overall, and I want to see why. Like, I think Anthony Davis and LeBron are both 2 overalls too high. And that's just based on where I've seen where they ended the season off, some of the stuff that they've done during the season. Like, you know what I mean? I think that AD's more of a defensive player now than ever. I don't. It's especially with he's lost, like, since he was like a 95 overall, he has lost a jump shot. So why is his overall the same? What has he gotten better at? You know what I mean? It's things like that. Like it feels really boosted.
I mean, looking at it, I guess the only person I'm probably taking out is Giannis, and that's only because like I'd probably push somebody else up to like 95, 96, something like that. Probably maybe Devin Booker, maybe Jalen Brunson, like one of those guys. Like maybe push them up a little bit. Even Anthony Edwards, maybe like.
They've lowered like
I'm tough on my players because it's just like, I mean, Giannis just didn't have he didn't have a good season. Like the Bucks in general didn't have like a great season. So I mean we'll take 97, but I mean how?
Like this game is like more like about, you know, like because the badges mean a lot too. Like I can guarantee you that like Giannis is a 97 because he has 52 badges as opposed to Shai's 41. Like he just has 10, like though all that stuff boosts your attribute points as well. Like there's players with like more to raise. Like look at Jason Tatum. He has 50. I think it says 58 of them. He has 58 badges as opposed to Curry's 43. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's able to be on his same level.
Well, hopefully the game's not super slow and you can actually use people that aren't the superstars when you play now this year.
That's a different conversation for a different time.
Whole different conversation.
Hey, because look, I ain't gonna speak my opinion about this.
You got the old heads over here.
Nah,
right?
2K old heads over here.
Look, so I get on the
glory days of 2K17 back in my day.
I can get on and fry somebody in 2K right now.
You know, it's crazy. It looked like they got a good game, but it's the same issues. Game finna be slow because of servers and all the same nonsense they refuse to fix. And it looked good, but it's just the same shit about to hold it back.
And hold that thought, because you talked about nonsense. Perfect transition. Then some other nonsense. The NBA, All-Finesser Team. We created our own. We are going to create our own All-Finesser Team. Examples of people who are finessers in all time, bad contracts, or people who got a ton of money and just never perform. They just underperform the contract. So for us, what we are going to do is rank the top 5 NBA finessers. It does not have to be a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, center. If it's 5 centers, whatever. If it's 5 point guards, whatever. So be it. Each of us, including myself, we will guarantee one NBA player for this list. We give an explanation as to why. And the last 2 players we have to agree on. Let's go. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Do y'all have somebody who y'all feel like we need to be on there? We have some honorable mention space, so if we need to sit down and break it down. But I do have somebody who I feel like needs to be on here.
Oh, Big TH, Tobias Harris.
See? He's like, hey, no, Tobias Harris do need to be on here on the short list for sure.
Yeah, he do.
But I got somebody who definitely deserves to be on this hoe. Simmons. Put him right up on that on the other side. No, he don't need to be on the short list.
Yeah. Yeah. That man got 2 years paid vacation, isn't
he? Yo, going on 3. Yeah. Or let me give y'all another way to think about it. When we be like, hey, yo, keep getting them checks. Those niggas.
Well, I mean, we're gonna talk about maybe Carlos Boozer. If we're talking about some OG finessers, or we're talking we need like an all modern day finessing team. I would
go. You can go like Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to lead.
Hey, Gilbert Arenas got paid for 3 years, 3 or 4 years past him getting forced out of the league. He was still getting a $30 million contract. That's real finessery right there.
I think Gil's contract just stopped getting paid in like 2020 or something like that. Like
I think the Knicks are still paying.
For a while?
Yeah, the Lakers. His ran up in like 2020. I think that was the first season they didn't have him, and that's the season they won the title.
Louis Dame.
It's only one. It's LOUL. Then who else?
John Wall, kinda. Because
he got that super
them all paid him all that money,
did.
and then
he got 200
they
million.
basically didn't want him to play. They sat that man and still paid him all that money.
I think Joakim Noah is still getting paid by a team, or at least he was recently. Like someone paid him out. Like they stretched his contract. But maybe I'm not remembering properly.
Let me see.
I'm trying to see who's like one of the first couple role players. They start handing out them crazy checks. People was just like,
Evan Turner.
Yeah.
Chandler Parsons.
Yeah,
yeah.
Bradley Beal.
Beal. Yeah, gotta be.
Zach LaVine.
Solomon Hill. He got a max contract for playing well in one Pacers one Pacers playoff run where they lost in the first round.
Did they do the same thing to TJ Warren?
No, they didn't pay him. They didn't pay TJ Warren. They knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't pay him. They knew the bubble had some different vitamins in the water.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see if there's some more.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah, but I know Chandler Parsons is definitely on there for sure.
Yeah.
Dang, who's Alan Crabb? He got the same money that Evan Turner got when they both got that. Remember in 2016 where the cap jumped like crazy overnight.
Oh yeah.
So that they could, and it was for teams to stretch over time, but they ended up using all at once and overpaying role players. It's what's about to happen right now. Like I think the Knicks already made the mistake. I think they paid OG too much money. He might be on his team this team next time we do it. Bro,
Scotty might be on here too because
they just paid him too.
Toronto might be about to take another they take another loss year.
So here's some other names. Here's some other names to think about. Zach LaVine, Jordan Poole looking like it right now.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
Vucevic.
Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant. Yeah.
Would you put Big Cat in this argument too, or is that too much?
Yeah, I'm probably looking at the same thing as you. No, I wouldn't put Big Cat. I think Big Cat deserves the money he making. But that's me. I'm a Big Cat fan. I think he fouled too much, but I'm a Big Cat fan.
That's his only problem.
I say Gordon Hayward too before his ran out this past season because he was making some big money.
Yo, he got that contract.
They paid him all that.
And then he got another one from Charlotte.
Yeah, he's making like 30-something million a year. 120 million guaranteed in 2020. Ugh.
I hate to say this.
I gotta put Tobias Harris on the real list.
Yeah.
That man was coasting.
He just got another deal for it, yo. The Pistons saw what he did and it's like, we need to re-up all that,
more
homie.
Of that. Whatever that is, we need more.
Oh, man.
More. Trying to think.
Maybe Davis Bertans. I think he's still getting paid like double-digit millions and he can't even play on the floor. He can't even stay on the floor. Someone's still paying him money.
That's crazy.
He's still guaranteed 5 of the 16 mil he was supposed to make this year.
That ain't no money. Ain't no money. We talking about these dudes. Like Bradley Beal makes 6. His contract is like 60 mil right now.
Oh yeah, it is, and with a no trade clause too.
Yeah,
he got one of the worst deals ever.
All right, let's break.
Cut that check.
I think we got a list right here. We got to pick. So, and you got to pick somebody off this list or somebody that deserves to be in this All-Finessers team.
Well, dang. He got paid a couple years from the Lakers. That man was chilling. He was not playing.
All right.
Turn that money and put it back into his community too. got the South Sudan to they almost beat the gold medal team twice.
Finessing. All right.
They look like they're gonna qualify again. They mess around, take somebody medal one of these years.
Yeah. So all right. So out of the list we got left, we got to come up with two people that we have to agree on that deserves to be on this all-finessing list. Hey, keep getting them checks. I ain't hating.
I'm cool with putting Poole on it. I'm very cool with putting Poole on it. I think that he is definitely overpaid right now. I don't know if he'll ever regain the value that he got that role player, the max role player deal. He got that deal, the same deal that Rudy Gobert got. It's the same thing, same deal that Tobias Harris is getting right now. Like they're paying this money to quote unquote elite role players.
Did somebody pay Andrew Bynum when he left the Lakers?
Cleveland.
I think Cleveland did. I think they gave him a lot of money.
They give him a big contract, and he just barely played 1 year because then they get Anthony Bennett and stuff too that same year.
They got 2014 offseason. They got Bynum from the Sixers. They traded for him. It was like a 3-team trade with like the Magic trading Dwight to the Lakers, and then Sixers got Andrew Bynum. And Bynum didn't even play that season with the Sixers, but then he left in the offseason and signed with Cleveland and then didn't play. I think he played like 17 games. No, he played a lot of minutes for the Cleveland actually, but they stopped playing them because
they started chucking threes.
No, their starting center, he was playing better than their starting center, and they had to get rid of him because of that. Like it was like they didn't know LeBron was coming back at this point either. So like it was like they had no incentive to be good. They were trying to tank. That's like they got the number 1 pick that year.
So they just paid them to sit.
Yeah. I mean, Gordon Hayward was on a playoff team this past season. Like they fell for that money. Like then, like OKC saw it, and
his injury though. Because if he hadn't got injured in Boston, he worked for that money.
But it's just Charlotte. Charlotte paid him that money like 3 years after that injury.
Yeah, true.
And like based on what they saw with him playing off the bench and not playing back-to-back games and all that stuff, they still paid him all that money. And it just fell off the books this past offseason. Like OKC went on wax and said, we regretted making that trade. And this is during the season.
Yeah, I remember that.
They had Hayward's wife on saying like, oh no, this team doesn't know how to use him.
He didn't get the ball.
Like
it's like, man, he's supposed to be doing Josh Giddey job. We ain't gonna talk about it.
He brought you here to be the Josh Giddey replacement. We couldn't even play you even the spot minutes we gave him. And
might be Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I'm looking
or Zach. It's him or Zach.
I mean, Levine is as a Bull. He's untradeable right now.
You gotta remember, John Wall made 40 a year, and he didn't play a single game for a year. That's a free check.
He tore his Achilles.
A couple years. No, it was a couple years. He was just sitting on the Rockets.
He sat in Houston for 2 years and didn't play a single game. They just
because they didn't want to win.
They didn't pay. No, didn't he get hurt and was out for a while and then came back and played for the Rockets?
No, he just didn't play.
They sat him, bro. Remember when they first got him? They wasn't trying to win.
Yeah, when they
that
traded
man was
him,
averaging 20 and 7, bro. They sat him. They was like, oh hell no.
They were
you
winning
was not
games.
Supposed to be doing that. Sit down.
They were winning. They were winning games, and so they sat him, and he pretty much sat on the bench for 2 years.
Okay,
letting him go.
Sucks, by the way.
Play. Yeah, like he wanted to play. Like you let them type.
But the problem is that what he was good at was like he wasn't good enough to warrant trading for somebody who make $40 million a year.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem when you pay people all this money. Like, you know what I mean? It sucks when it's based on like potential. Like this is why I'm not paying for potential. I'm sorry. Like, because Utah paid John Collins $125 million too, and
we gotta.
You see how they operating in Houston now, boy. Hey, one of y'all gonna show us something to get a deal.
Yeah, they're making.
They
them
told
work
them boys
for
straight up, like, hey, you gonna have to show us
it.
something if you want a deal.
Both of them, they both killing too, and they don't care, dude.
I ain't gonna lie. I think Gilbert Arenas gotta. I think Gilbert Arenas gotta go on here.
Yeah,
I would make an argument for Gilbert Arenas.
He got a max contract after pulling out a gun in the locker room, and he still got a max deal.
Yo, and they kept paying him.
He had to.
He was like the Magic was paying him all through those like after the Dwight trade. I think like they had that Gilbert Arenas contract on their books, so that's like why they were so bad for a little bit. They had like $13 million a year going to him, which back then was like that was like enough for like a role player, like
that
a good
a lot
one.
Of money. All right, so looking at this list: Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Luol Deng, Jordan Poole, Gilbert Arenas.
That's about right.
Yeah,
well, we would like to make any modifications. Hey, shout out to them. Look, first of all, it's probably keep getting them checks. There's probably $1 billion between all these niggas on here.
It's just the fact that both Luol Deng was able to turn that team into an Olympic medalist, like could potentially be a medalist, and then the fact that Gilbert Arenas to this day is still grifting NBA teams for money. So that's an excellent. Like you would say, oh, Gilbert Arenas hasn't played in 13 years. It's because he's still to this day relevant to the league 13 years after just by saying stuff.
Yep.
Like
he's still
they got
money.
It's a contract clause named after him now.
Yeah, I think it's because what happened. It was
amnesty clause.
Yep.
So two things about Gilbert Arenas. One positive and one is it is what it is. Keep getting them checked. So the amnesty clause, that was the first year. Gilbert Arenas was the first person to get amnesty clause. Gilbert Arenas also is the first person to get a max contract after being a second year product because there was no second round deals. So there was no like multi years for second round players. So like he stepped up, he was good, and then he got a max contract. Like that's like he kind of took off. So he changed the game for in that in that capacity. And then Gil's a wild dude. So the fact that he was able to make the amount of money that he was able to make from the NBA, hey, shout out to him. That's look, Gil can't do no wrong to me. I'm just looking at this list. I'm trying to make sure. Are we good with the list? Last thought, closing statements.
I'm happy with it. Part of me wants to put Vooch and Zach LaVine up there, but I think it's not Vooch and Zach LaVine's fault that the Bulls were stupid to offer them that money. So, they just did what they had to do. They ain't really finessing. That's just playing it smart.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons a finesser, bro. I can't let that go, bro. That man finesse. 2 years paid vacation, bro. Like I just
beat that shit. Well, you can't beat that, but
bro. And then
keep getting those checks, buddy. Man, one of the best defensive and passing prospects ever, but doesn't shoot at 2 feet
really
away
love
from the
to
rim.
see you play great basketball again. So
Yeah, to this day we want to see a 6'10" point guard do his thing, but if he can't,
Simmons,
you don't want to play.
Ben Simmons, we miss you. ATP on Ben Simmons come play basketball.
Jimmy Butler said he liked Brooklyn. I think he just trying to start a pot in Miami, but he said it. God damn it, Ben Simmons, get your shit together.
Ben Simmons won't be there.
No, yeah, they're not playing together again. Those guys hate each other.
Speaking of playing and being a great defensive player, great offensive player, in general, we got a fun last topic of the day, or semi. We'll see, man. No, it's probably gonna be last. Ken Wemby, our upcoming GOAT. Can Wemby win every award in the NBA in one season? Minus, of course, Rookie of the Year, because he already won that. So here's the caveat, right? If he was going to win every other award, it would have to be next season. Because he would have to get most improved. So most improved, defensive player of the year. Well, he can't because he can't win six man. But
it's not crazy to say that he could potentially. It's not crazy to say he can get all that this year. I think he could do it this year if it all breaks right. Like the Mavs get a 5th seed. Wemby's averaging 27, 14, and 5 with 3 blocks. Who's saying he's not MVP mate with those stats in that record? Who's saying he's not defensive player of the year averaging 4 or 5 blocks a game?
So you think he would have to get 5th seed? What would he have to do to realistically win MVP and to win Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved? Because I think those are the only three he can really win. Because he's not gonna get 6, man.
It's gonna have to be 30 and 10 with 3 blocks. Because he gotta win MVP, and he's gonna have to play better than Jokic and Embiid and Giannis.
Oh yeah,
so it's gonna have to be something like that, like 30 and 10, 4 blocks a game,
and the scoring title.
I'm thinking of that Giannis
at least
season.
top 4. He at least gotta be top 4 seed wise.
Like, remember when Giannis did it?
Yeah.
It's got to be something like that. Giannis won Defensive Player of the Year and MVP in the same season. We've seen it before. I think that's definitely possible.
Yeah, what was Giannis's numbers that year?
It was like 30 and 12, bro. It was
he was going stupid.
like 2 steals, 2 blocks, something crazy like that. You know, and I think they it was one of them seasons. Oh, it was back when he still had the mohawk.
So he had 30.4. No, just kidding. He had 29.9 points per game. So basically 30, 13.6 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists, and he averaged a block on 55% shooting. Okay. So do you think Wemby would have to do this, or would he have to do more to win?
I think that'll get it.
It with at least about 5-6 assists, because the MVP thing is getting more difficult because Joel Embiid has better players around him, and Denver seemed like they gearing up to be back in that top 3 in the West conversation. So his right now with the way the MVP voting has gone the last couple of years, those are his competition in that regard to beat out. So he's gonna have to beat them out, and he's gonna have to hope Luka don't do some crazy shit like have a triple-double season. Like, you still gotta watch out for that motherfucker, because Luka, the way he plays, he do everything.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta, because we know Wemby got Defensive Player of the Year. We damn near know he's gonna be all NBA all first team. Like, those things are damn near guaranteed. But to get MVP, he's gonna have to be like near that scoring like record conversation. Like, he's gonna have to really outplay a lot of guys to get that MVP along with the Defensive Player of the Year.
So Embiid led the league in scoring last season at 34.7. So he would have to average 35 a game.
He's gonna have to be close, because if you average less points than him, you gotta have more blocks, you gotta have more rebound. Like, it gotta be something else. Like, you're gonna have to be close. But yeah, that 35 game is crazy.
Just based off what we've seen, do you think, like, even in with Embiid almost 30, do y'all think he's still putting up 30 plus a game? Like, he got they just got another 25 point per game score on that team.
I think he'll still get over 30, but I think his assists are finna go up. I think he still averages over 30 though. Just because even with that team, he's still, now it's even more dangerous, because now it's like, if you put Embiid on the floor with Maxey, PG, KJ, and like Eric Gordon or whoever else, you really want to help? You really want to try to double Embiid?
Man,
like, they got shooters now. They got Caleb Martin, they got Kyle Lowry, they got Eric Gordon. Like, they got shooters. So do you really want to double Embiid? So I mean, I don't know, but I definitely still see him getting over 30 a game. I don't think that shit. Embiid, he ain't look like he gonna slow down yet. And honestly, I think the Team USA experience is going to help with them adding Paul George, because I think now he's going to understand, like, there's going to be some games where Maxey and PG going to be going crazy, and it would probably be best for him to just do the quick center bucket shit, like, hey, cut through, hey, I got it, bucket, real, not do his usual high post, work his game. It's like, nah, if you guys going off, this is a game where you can get the easy ones and kind of rest a little bit, kind of just get the dub and go on to the next game. So I don't know, but it's and back to the Wemby shit, is that's the type of team the dude he got to beat out for MVP has, and he don't have that type of team. So Wemby's gonna have to be. He gonna have to be something different this year, because he does not have as good a team as the guys that are in his way for MVP.
I just stay with Chris Paul there. Chris Paul, like if Chris Paul sees it, he's gonna like push him to go for it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good effect about adding some of these veterans to the team is that they're gonna push him to like, try to, because he seems pretty like I'm cool with just doing what my team needs me to do. Like I'll play power forward and only play 29 minutes a game and things like that. Sure, I don't mind like getting out the way, letting you play Jeremy Sohan at the one, even though he doesn't pass to me right. He just seems like he's really nice. But I think Chris Paul try to get some of that dog out of him because I mean we've seen him do it. I mean when he got angry, he ruined the Nuggets season and almost beat Team USA. So that means something. So there's a chance that he he has the right guys around him to push him to do better for himself. So I'm hoping that's what happens. I want Wemby to just say fuck the league and go crazy, like just try to show out every night. I want that. Like
look, if he play against Chet every game of the season, hey, I don't know if y'all watch the OKC versus Spurs games, but if I promise y'all, circle anytime they play against each other, Chet and Wemby, like on the court, like off the court, I'm sure they cool, they fine. But on them two, they be trying to destroy each other. Y'all, I'm telling you, circle those dates on your calendar. The days when Wemby and Chet have to play against each other, because those games are like, yeah.
That's how it was last year. Well,
they be going at it. They be going at it.
It's a show.
But yeah, man. So y'all think that there's a chance that he could win? So realistically, right? Maybe next year he don't win that. But do you think there's a time? Well, obviously, do y'all feel like there's a time when he'll win scoring title, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP?
Yeah, I think it's totally plausible. I think he could legitimately do it this season. I legitimately think he can do it, and I'm saying that with conviction because it's like, this is the only time he's gonna get to win Most Improved Player. This is the only time he's gonna get to do it. And I'm including Most Improved in this because I think I'm talking about every individual award all at the same time. So MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Sorry, this is the family and friends edition. Apparently,
right?
MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, First Team All Defense, First Team All NBA, All-Star MVP. Like I'm talking about the whole 9 yards. We're talking about the perfect season here. Like I think that's something that could be done, and the only reason I feel like it could be stopped from happening is if they decide that maybe he doesn't qualify for Most Improved, which I feel like he wouldn't because it should be for players who were bad last season and are good now, versus like players who are just getting better or on the same track that they were already doing it.
If he go from 21 to 35, I don't know. If you go from 21 to 35, like what else? Like,
yeah,
that's 14 points. That's a lot of points. Usually it's like 7. It's like a 7-point gap, like 8 points. 14.
You got to give it to him at that point. That's a lot. That's a whole extra player right there.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
That's a quality role players of stuff added on to it.
I don't think it's gonna happen this season. I think the Most Improved is the only one he's probably never gonna get. But whatever season he perfects what his offense, so whatever season like he like decides like this is the thing I'm doing when I come down on offense, like this is the thing he's gonna go to, like straight into when he comes on the offense. Whatever year he figures out his move set, that's gonna be the year that motherfuckers is gonna be in danger. That's gonna be his MVP, Finals MVP, like that's gonna be that year. Because
I think he gonna retire.
I think that's the only thing holding him back is the fact that he hasn't like if he just chose like, all right, I'm playing off elbow, that's it. I'm playing off the free throw line elbow, everything. And like that's just where he started his offense from. Like every time he touched the ball, bro, motherfuckers wouldn't be able to stop him. It'd be rough.
I think we might see the return of just grabbing big players to try to throw at him. Like he might get the Shaq treatment.
Oh yeah,
three centers on the roster, all for 6 fouls.
It's gonna be just like it was with Shaq. It's gonna be a bunch of motherfuckers who you that big, you are not that skilled, and he about to show you. It's gonna be fucking dark.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you that if Wemby have a breakout season, like say, like, you know, he goes from 21 to like 30, and it's like a dominant 30, I guarantee you all those old veteran, like big men that kind of just hang, a lot of them retiring.
Clint Capella and Kevin Looney are out of there. They're gone.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Kurt,
Gone. Wemby start going.
It's crazy. Kevon Looney only like 28. We think he old. He was drafted in 2017, bro. He was like he came in with, then he come in with Lonzo and them. That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Do y'all got any closing thoughts on Wemby winning awards as we round out the pod for tonight?
Motherfuckers better watch out.
Yeah, man. This don't like once he gets that stride going, like and it's gonna be so quick. Like it could be happening. Like for real, we could be walking into next season. You can already be a different player. Like just look about what he did his rookie season. Again, he spoiled the Nuggets season. We got to continue to say that because he messed their whole stride up. They was about to waltz into the offseason with an easy bracket that worked for them, and then they got stuck with the hard mode, and they lost because of it because they weren't as good as they were previously. And then he goes and takes Team USA to the wire as a rookie at 18, bro. And like not even like a 20-year-old, like an 18-year-old rookie. It's
the
nothing
story
but the
will
sky.
always be it took the Avengers to beat Wemby.
Really?
No, the man Thanos.
Like, shit, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, yo. Like,
Thanos Wembanyama.
Like we keep seeing NBA history in like our like adult lifetime. Like, just think about it. Like, we watched LeBron come in and play his whole career. We watched Kobe play his whole career. Curry, like Giannis, all these guys come in, and then like it's like the culmination of all those guys ended up into this one tall player, and you know who even knows what he's gonna do. Like I can't even imagine what he might do based on what some of the stuff we've already seen because the league is still wide open.
Facts.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man.
All right, y'all. That's gonna do it. But quick point of order before we leave. What is it? Phantom, the silent basketball. Do the right thing. Hey, do the right thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right.
Hey, do the right thing. As we are on our road, we are on the road to 2 million subscribers. But first, we got to get this 200, man. We right there. We had 188. We had 200 subscribers. Get us to the 200. I know I owe y'all TikTok dance. Time has been timing right now. Time been in short order. But I promise you I'm gonna get that done. We on the road to 200 subscribers. The only way we can do that, man, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your grandma, make your dog, make your cat an account, and tell them to like, comment, subscribe. All you gotta do is press the button. And it don't take much. You don't tell it take long. If y'all have anything, how y'all feel about our top 10 list, the 2K list, don't go in the comments and say, oh, the list is trash or bad take. Tell us your take. Otherwise, we don't care. I know I don't. Like
straight up.
If you can't make an informed opinion, I don't care. Like I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. You don't care. YouTube troll, blue. If you want to be a troll, at least give us the courtesy giving us a real list. Okay. All right. That's it, y'all. We'll see y'all later. Tell the people peace out. Close us out.
All right,
and
people.
Brandon.
It's been real, you know. Always welcome. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe, you know, share it on your post, repost, restream, everything.
All right.
Peace, people.
Goodbye. Bye.